Most of the presentation today will be given by Pete Sala, who's our Chief Facilities Officer, who came in about a year ago, got handed this framework plan and a few other things, and has been deep in this for a long time. I don't think he sleeps all that much. But we've been rolling this out throughout the summer months. You've heard some of the elements of this early on this spring with some of the conversations about the University Promenade and some other potential projects. And I think just because of the way things work on campus and having to make decisions coming up for the summer construction season while the framework was still being deliberated by the Board of Trustees and other leadership, we got out in front on some projects by necessity, but now we're getting a chance to hopefully share with you the vision of the framework and why we've made some decisions early on and how this all pieces together, not only for the near future, but also for 15, 20 years out. This is really setting the stage for the direction that the university is taking from an infrastructure perspective. There is also kind of a parallel planning process, and that's related to our academic, our blood and soul of the university, an academic strategic planning process, but they're very closely intertwined. Part of the early stages of both the framework plan and the academic strategic planning work was a conversation all across campus about really where we were with the mission and vision for the institution. And I put the mission statement that came up here about Syracuse University aspiring to be a preeminent and inclusive student-focused research university, preparing engaged citizens, scholars, and leaders for participation in a changing global society. And tonight, we're going to talk to you about how our infrastructure, our facilities, actually relates to us trying to achieve this goal. More specifically, as we try to accomplish that vision, some very kind of key goals that we're establishing to carry out that vision. One, to encourage greater global study, experiential learning, and interdisciplinary scholarship. Secondly, balancing professional studies with an intensive liberal arts education. Some of these are probably no surprises. It's a strength that we already have, and so we want to build on our strengths. A few more, fostering rich, diverse, and inclusive community of learning and opportunity. Also promoting a culture of innovation and discovery, supporting our faculty, students, and the work that they do together, collaboratively, and across different disciplines throughout the university. And perhaps a segue into this framework plan is maintaining pride in our location and our history, a place of access, engagement, innovation, and impact. And I hope what you hear tonight and what we think you will hear tonight is really the university strengthening and desiring to strengthen our ties to the community and to the city. This builds on a lot of the efforts that we've had, probably over the last dozen years. For example, the Connective Corridor. We actually engaged a firm out of Boston called Sasaki Architects that 10 years ago they came in and helped us work on some of the original ideas for the Connective Corridor, so they were familiar with the city and the community. And they spent probably, I'd say, at least a good 3 or 4 months early on talking with students, surveying students and faculty and staff. I took them out around the community with city leadership, county leadership. We met with some of the leadership in the neighborhood. So some of you may have heard and seen some of these ideas. For some of you, it might be the first time that we've talked about these publicly. More specifically, getting into the framework plan, and before I hand it over for Pete, really there are 3 overarching goals. Some of it I might have spoken to already. One, we want to take a look at the physical framework of the university and how it supports academic excellence. And what this really means is really looking top to bottom where our academic locations are, where the academic support services are, where the student support services are, so that we can begin to make sure that departments and programs are co-located in ways to really maximize what we want to achieve academically and enhance the student experience. So there's already been some shifting of administrative departments out of certain areas to allow academic departments to move in, and vice versa. So we're already beginning to see some shifting of departments and programs and the faculty and staff that work in those areas. Secondly, enrich all aspects of student life. It's a recognition that the student experience matters. Matters to the students now and to the students that we hope to attract in the university in the coming years. Really fostering, as it says right here, a holistic residential experience. There's a couple ideas you'll hear today. One most notably you probably heard in the press is a gradual movement of South Campus residential into the main campus, and that's really a philosophy to strengthen our urban campus environment, have more vitality in our main campus and the stronger connections to the city, as well as at the same time giving students the best experience that they have in an urban educational environment. And then third, create a vibrant setting, which is essentially what I just said. You know, to continue to build on our great location, our great environment on the University Hill, our relationship with the neighboring community, as well as an emphasis on the public spaces and the spaces that we all interact, whether it's students, faculty, visitors, or the city and the community coming up on campus, or even just simply passing through. So on that note, I'm going to hand it off to Pete, who will walk through some various specific elements, detailing some priorities and some projects that you'll see in the near future, some of them which are already going on. We're going to take some of the questions for you at the end and have a conversation. If we need to flesh out anything more, we will do that. I also have a number of my colleagues I will quickly introduce to you. We're going to start with my office, Lori Levengood and Diana Napolitano. They're in the back. Diana works on our government relations. Lori's be-all, catch-all support staff in my office. If you've ever called the office, it's Lori picking up the phone. We have some members of public safety here as well. Chief Bobby. Bobby's been here for about a year, right? Yes. Tony Callisto. Tony Callisto's in the room. He's our Chief Law Enforcement Officer. Some of you know Tony from meetings with public safety. And Ryan Buford is here. Some of you may know we've had a few staffing changes in my office. Kate Hammer, who many of you worked with for a number of years, has left. She was actually doing a lot of the public safety coordination with the neighbors. Ryan's going to be your point person for moving forward. I've gotten a lot of questions about, some public safety and all that, but we'll answer those questions a little bit more if you have any questions in the conversation period. And on that note, I'll hand it over to Pete.
Thank you. I think he's got me on the other one, so thank you. It's nice of you to all show up tonight. I appreciate it. It's a little hot there. The first thing I'd like to start talking about is we'd had some earlier meetings with the campus community, and one of the questions that just kept coming up is what was the driver, what was the driver, what was the driver of the framework? So Sasaki was brought onto campus about 2 years ago, and with them being here, they interviewed over 5,000 people on campus, including students, faculty, staff, all the different users of campus. And on top of that, we surveyed over 25,000 season ticket holders at the Carrier Dome, which was a big driver to this framework. So that helped us get started. That's what drove a lot of the answers that you're going to see, and it may also drive some of the questions that you have. And again, I think that it's up to you. If you've got a question you really need me to answer as we're going through this, I have no problem stopping to answer a question. So one of the things that we're very passionate about as we come out of the framework is as we get into the priorities of where it is we're going to go with this project, is we talk about sustainability. Sustainability is something that we have a sustainability committee on campus. I chair that with Nate Pryor, and many other people on our campus are involved on that committee. We understand that we need to be good stewards of the university and understand what our challenges are when it comes to sustainability with energy and capturing the rainwater on the dome roof and reusing it, and stormwater tanks and retention that we are required to do on new buildings. But also, when we get into what's called the Campus West project, we're going to enter into one of the stormwater retention tanks. In the event that we have the 100-year storm, we need to put something big enough to capture that on the dome roof. We're also going to tie Sadler into it, and whatever we do with the Archibald project. That tank will be located on the southwest corner on the dome towards ESF on a big piece of property we have over there. That piece of property we will use as a laydown area through the construction as we're building the new renovated Archbold and renovating the Carrier Dome. And as we come out of that, that'll be something that we do to collect that water, to reduce the amount of water that goes into the combination storm sewer system at the university. You can go to the next slide, Eric. Again, another big priority is mobility and accessibility. Part of the big university place, the Promenade project, was to enhance accessibility across campus. We talk about universal design in everything we design. It's just something we're very passionate about. I think this summer we took on a half a dozen projects that were strictly tied to mobility issues on campus, ADA issues. It's something we're going to be very strongly working on when you talk about the Carrier Dome transformation. A lot of it is driven by accessibility to the facility, possibly up to 6 more elevators, things like that. Getting people onto the campus in an easy way to get from point A to point B. If you haven't ever pushed somebody in a wheelchair from the Sheridan up onto the main campus, I encourage you to give it a try sometime. I've done it about 10 times this summer. We work with Diane Wiener's office. It's incredible the elevation difference and what it takes to get from point A to point B. It is not easy to do. And that's where our visitors come in from, and we need to address that. So part of the Promenade project was to try to get to that 5% grade. That was our goal. We were able to achieve most of that in this first phase of the project. We're hoping to enter into a second phase of the project down the road where we'll address what we call the front lawn. And we'll get into that a little bit farther down in the slideshow. So again, campus arrival. It amazes me that there's many different ways to come onto our campus. But do you really feel like you're onto the university, Syracuse University campus? So how do we do that? I think the Promenade was really crucial to that. So if you come in, if you're coming from the north side of campus, and you come up University Ave and you park at the Sheridan, or you're visiting the university, you get out of your car and you start walking, I think what we try to do is create this grand entrance. The university's front lawn has changed. This is the old row, as we call it, which comes down now to the new row. I receive a lot of emails from people who talk about what Waverly looks like. We've actually turned our back to the city, and I don't disagree with that, because the Shine Center, the Newhouse and Bird, kind of like the back door is what faces the city. So as we get deeper into this framework, you're going to see that we're going to address that. It's something that we need to do. We need to now change the look of how you come up from the city. We also want to look, you're going to see some slides in here, how it could look coming from the west side of the campus below the dome. Again, a lot of this stuff is speculative. You're designing for different ideas. Nothing's cast in stone in some of these further slides, but again, it's a framework. And what I mean by framework is it's something to guide us along, that it's a living, breathing document, and it'll always have draft on it because the priorities could change. But it's the wayfinding and how you enter campus. And the other main entry point of campus is obviously over through Euclid. So again, we've addressed that this summer. We've done a lot of work in the last 2 years over there. I think that entrance point to campus is beautiful. So that's important to us as well. Get through here, Eric, the next one. And then wayfinding. So we have a marketing group on campus that Nikki Brown oversees, and she's working with us with a company called Pentagram. We've engaged with Pentagram. We're in the early stages of that contract. They're going to help us with the wayfinding through the whole campus. And not only with that, but signage inside facilities, signage inside classrooms. What is the true signage we want on different restrooms? What do we want our doorways? What do we want as people come to campus? We had a conversation today with my senior staff at Campus Planning, Design, and Construction, talking about the students come back that first week or that last week of August. I talk about standing in front of the chapel the first day of school, and there's probably not a freshman that's coming into school that's not asking you where a building is. We've never done a good job of having really good signage across our campus to tell people where they are and where the buildings are. It's amazing. We had signs made up, big boards made up for the Promenade project, and every day there's a line of people looking at those signs. And that is the type of signage we'd like to see going forward, much more informative, giving people a better way to get through campus so they can understand where they are. So it'll help them navigate. And I'm sure everybody, I don't know how many people in this room, but if you're on campus, I see some people that are on campus daily. We see our students always have that smartphone, that device in their hand. Rarely do they pick up and look where they're going. They're walking with their head down. So if it's something we can integrate into that as well, we want a virtual environment. We want to make sure that we can get some signage and some information at all the bus stops. Very important to us. And we've had some feedback from the community about more information at the bus stop shelters, and that's something we're going to address. So the next slide, as we go through here, are some of the key recommendations. You can go to the next one, Eric, which basically talks about the future of the campus. And this is where we start getting into the ideas that Sasaki came through that presented to us as they got into the scope of the design of what the framework will be. And you can go to the next slide, Eric. So one of the things they talked about was to enliven the civic realm. And what they mean by that is this is a slide of the promenade. And when you go around our campus, you'll notice that a lot of our buildings are set back off of the streetscape. As we go forward, you're going to see a lot of conceptual drawings of some future buildings, and many of them are brought out to the sidewalk to give you that city type of feel, to tie the city and the community into the university so the buildings aren't set way back. And this is basically looking from the Shine Center towards the Euclid area, up past Thornton Park, or up to Thornton Park, up off of Comstock. So you'll see that we've raised the grade here, and this is basically what this almost looks like today. We're actually almost halfway done with the promenade, a little bit more. And this was to tie the two together. I mean, someone once said, I think it was Tony Callisto at one of the meetings, that it already was a promenade. You know, the amount of student traffic that goes across here through the day is unbelievable. So we're kind of cleaning that all up. It'll tie the two halves of the campus together. And this was one of the future projects that Sasaki talked about that we knew we could take on quickly. We were going to be in the road replacing the 12-inch sewer line, or excuse me, the 24-inch sewer line and the 12-inch water main that went all the way down that road. It was a quarter mile of pipe we replaced for the city at our expense this summer. So you can go to the next slide. This is something, again, this is a conceptual drawing of what it could be. What we're calling this is the academic promenade. This is a look as you would be standing from what is now called the Orange Grove. So you're actually on the east side of the quad looking towards the Carrier Dome. This is the Archbold Gymnasium over here, and what the potential with renovations to the dome, what it could look like, looking out towards the west. One thing some people pick up on, some people don't, is the physics building is gone. This is a long-term, project that could happen. Do we do this right away? We couldn't do this unless we had to replace the physics building already. So, but again, it's Sasaki's vision of what could be, better wayfinding, better function on campus, better flow. And it's all about wayfinding and flow, and how do you tie the ends of the campus together. So this would actually tie us into the University Place Promenade. Again, next slide, Eric, the campus community. So again, trying to get that feel of a city streetscape and tying the university into the city. This is a look up from across the Sheridan, what this could be. This is a future welcome center and or admissions office that could possibly be here. Over here could be like a Syracuse University bookstore on the corner. This is like where the parking garage would be. And this is a look at what the Shine Center could look like. Our goal with the Shine Center is you come in at Waverly and never have to take an elevator to get to the elevation that's up at University Place. It's amazing, on the other side of the Shine, between the Shine and Bird, the elevation from Rhodes is actually 27 feet in elevation difference. So it's quite a bit of a grade, and so that people don't have to take that switchback and try to go through here. We thought it would be great if our students could enter in that corner and get to the front of the Shine, never having to take an elevator, being able to flow through that space. But it's tying into the connective corridor. This is obviously, all you are aware of the connective corridor and the different streetscapes that go with it. So this is just something we would work off of, that Sasaki really liked how that looked and worked off it a little bit. And we wanted to put a winter picture in there because it's not always this nice out. So give people a real feel for where they are. Next slide, Eric. This is a potential look at how the Carrier Dome could be. I thought these slides, we put this presentation together because I think it's important of what our goal is. And our goal is a welcoming campus, tying the ends of the campus together. So this is a potential how we could tie the west end of the campus, the parking area, the stadium lots, the VA side of the campus to Syracuse University. And how do we welcome our people that park in Irving Garage and park on that side of campus and open up the university to the city, to that side of the city. Now, Would we ever build this and have all these stairs here for my guys to have to shovel every day in the winter? I don't think so. But again, it's a conceptual drawing of what could be. So when we get a little deeper into the framework, you're going to see a change with the National Veterans Resource Complex. This is an imagination of Grant Auditorium being gone at the new Falk School where the old law school was. Trying to open it up so that the campus is inviting you, come up to the Syracuse University campus from the west side. This is a conceptual drawing of an addition out towards Irving that we have absolutely no interest in doing. That's nothing on the dock. But it was just something that Sasaki put together that said, hey, you ought to think about this. Could be something that would work. And then the next page. So this is, again, future of how we'd like to see the Waverly Ave look. So what you have on the left is the new Veterans Complex, which takes you down a little bit farther across from the Shine Center. What could be on that corner where the health center currently is that a new admissions office? Is it a welcome center? Is it where your bookstore is? On the right-hand side, you're basically seeing the Dick Clark Studio, which is currently at Newhouse, and this is the streetscape that is the old University Ave. So our goal is to bring the buildings out, get them closer to the actual sidewalk, and then clean up this streetscape. One of the, we made a couple mistakes. I'll be very clear about that with the framework announcement. One of which was saying that the Waverly Promenade is going to happen, right? So now the question I get, Eric and I have probably done about 20 of these presentations. The question I always get is, when does that promenade happen? What that is going to be is a street curb-to-curb project that'll happen in the summer of 2018, and Joe Alfieri, if I'm wrong, jump in here. But the city of Syracuse has a grant to come in and redo the street, the actual pavement area, look at the bicycle lanes, look at how Waverly is laid out, and they'll own from curb to curb. Now, we're going to be working this weekend to replace some bus stops down on Waverly. That's happening this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. There'll be 4 new bus stops throughout this area, and our part of this project will be from the curb out in towards our buildings. And we will be involved with replacing some of the concrete, maybe putting concrete in to help with the bus stops when the central buses pull up. And again, working with the city to clean up the streetscape. It's not a promenade. That was something that we get a lot of pushback on. Oh my goodness, you're going to do the same thing with Waverly. That's the farthest thing from the truth. The other part of the framework that was a little bit troubling for me to explain is the Sheridan turning into a residence hall quickly. That is a project that is down the road, not a near-term project. Again, it was a question of what's a real quick, easy fix if we needed to work on housing. Sure, that could be done. We already house students in the 4th floor of the Sheridan, so it's how would we do that permanently? So the next phase of this takes us into the near-term projects. And the reason I like this map is it's kind of hard to see here because these lights are on, but we highlighted the things that people are going to see going on in the next couple years. The one thing that I always bring everybody's attention to is this is not a near-term project, but we have a study. We're going through a study on this, and that's the steam station. We're basically looking at the steam station to say, what could our future be there? Do we want to be in the steam business and deal with steam at Syracuse University? Is it something that we need to do right away? No. We know that we're at capacity with our chilled water. We're very close. We supply chilled water to the entire campus. On the steam side, the VA hospital, ESF, Krause, I think upstate too, Joe, also is part of our steam operation. So, we're looking at, down the road, does it make sense to outsource or does it make sense to, cogen? Should we be, producing electricity for the campus? So, when you see people around, walking around buildings, taking pictures or with a surveying, people ask questions. So I wanted it on there. That's a great slide. This is a basically refreshing the building that's already there across from the dome loading dock, which is the TV compound where the current TV trucks are. We know we're going to have some issues in there when the ACC network comes on board in a couple years. We know we need to do some upgrades in there, so it's on there. This is what we call Campus West, which encompasses the arch, which this renovation is underway, along with the Carrier Dome. The Carrier Dome focus right now is on the roof. We would like to be working on that roof in about 18 months. The problem is we're having a tough time getting to, okay, what does that mean? Because at the Carrier Dome, when you take the roof off, you can't operate the carrier dome because the dome is an air-supported facility that works off of internal pressure. There are no mechanical systems that take care of all the concessions, the bathrooms. There's certain air changes that need to happen in a building to operate it. If we take the old roof down and take the pressure out of the building, there's got to be something to make up for all that lack of internal pressure. So we're working very closely with Carrier and a few other engineers to look at what's going to happen when we take the roof up, so we can actually go to the trustees and say, to replace the roof, it's not just the roof, it's actually this, and this is what it's going to cost. And we'll have that number no later than December. We're working very closely with Turner, who is the construction manager for the project. And then this is the actual Archibald Gym. There's a big renovation that happens on the south side, which is faces the ESF property. We're in the process right now of moving a 24-inch water main for the city up around this side of the project. So the project is officially underway with getting utilities out of the way. We always start in the ground, get the utilities out of the way, move what we need to. We're going to need to do a couple things in Flanagan Gymnasium that doesn't show up, a new elevator, some temporary bathrooms, and a bunch of ADA improvements so that we can utilize that space while the construction's going on in Arch. This is highlighted because this is the old BRL, Biologic Research Lab. That was probably one of the worst buildings on campus when it comes to PCBs and asbestos. So that's been completely abated. We're on our last little phase of some ductwork that's going to be completed, hopefully wrapped up by the end of next week. And we are forming a facility assessment committee on campus with a bunch of deans and the new provost and myself and a few people from the campus planning, design, and construction staff. Tony told me not to use the acronyms, the CPDC. I talk very fast, and that means campus planning, design, and construction. So we're right now deciding, all right, what are we going to do with this? It's a beautiful 8-story space, completely gutted. We're going to renovate it for academic use. We want that to be 100% academic, so we don't know if engineering will end up in there a little bit. The School of Education has voiced some interest, and I know that the Arts and Sciences, I had a meeting with the Dean Karin, and I met with Teresa Monday and Tuesday just to talk about their needs. We're going to meet with all the deans one-on-one, Joe and myself and Chris Danik in the office, to find out what their needs are, and we'll go in front of the committee and start talking through that. It'll involve some students and some faculty and staff, and excited about it. This other highlighted area here is Lyman Hall. The reason that is highlighted is because we're calling that our swing space. So imagine having to renovate a building like this building right here, Arch. Those of you that have been around, like myself, back in the old days, you went into Arch to register for classes. Anybody remember that? I went to Syracuse. So then all the different support networks that went with that stayed in Arch. So Ryan Craig Williams, who oversees all of our financial aid and all those different departments that deal with getting into school, the registrar's office, we're in this facility along with both ROTC programs. And I don't know if people realize that Syracuse University has the longest, oldest ROTC program in the country, correct? So they're very, very, a great program, and we really take that program very serious. So we had to find a place for them. So a lot of the different groups either ended up in Carnegie Bound or over in Lyman. So Lyman ended up with quite a bit of renovation because when the law school moved down to the new Deneen Law School, the Falk School that utilized much of this building moved into the old Falk building, or the old library, or law school. So between the two, there's a lot of renovation going on here. This is quite a bit of renovation's been done, but a lot of this swing space ended up being in Lyman. So just so people understand, if you see contractors, there's a dumpster there. I don't want you to drive by and say, geez, Pete, you didn't mention that. So it was kind of like, that's why that's highlighted. I think it's important that we all understand that. Obviously, the University Place Promenade, which is, they're already done all the way up past the Shine over here with the brick pavers. We've only got this last third to go. By Sunday night, the fence will be down all the way past the Shine. Joe, scream at me if I'm wrong. All the sod will be in, landscaping will be done, and our goal is by the following Friday or Saturday, take the rest of the fence down and open this up. So it's gone quite well. Everything that we needed to do behind this area here is complete. It's all been opened back up. The new entrance in from College Place, it's absolutely fabulous. The new ADA entrance to this building is just unbelievable. And we heated the sidewalks and the stairs so to help us keep that clear in the winter. The last but not least is the new Veterans Complex that you see on that lot there. And that's the corner of Waverly and South Krause. We are quite quite a long, I would say that the progress of that construction, I'm in a pretty happy place with that. We have selected shop architects. They won a competition. We are working through some of the final details of the programming of the building. We have hired a veteran-owned company to come in, and the survey is complete. Joe and his team are going over the survey. We'll be doing some geotechnical testing around the building, prepping for a demolition, hopefully in October, late September, maybe October. We've had our asbestos abatement crew in there nonstop since the middle week of July. A lot of these 50s era buildings, 60s, are full of asbestos. So we get in there, take all the PCBs out, the asbestos. Again, that building will be clean, clean, clean before we knock it down. Next slide, Eric. So this always comes up every time we have this conversation as people that went out and saw the framework, and we talk about the gradual shift from South Campus to North Campus. The first thing I like to say is, a lot of times people will stop me here and ask me about, are you trying to house every single student that goes to Syracuse University? The answer is absolutely not. We know that we'd like to, and we require all the freshmen and sophomores to stay in a dorm or stay on campus. That's in part mostly to retention. It's very important for that student life and the retention to have the students close on campus. A lot of our students don't like going to South Campus. Unfortunately, we can't house right now all the freshmen and sophomores on North Campus. So what ends up happening is there is some bleed up to South Campus. We get a lot of pushback from parents. We'll get some pushback from the students as well. So our goal is, as it says, gradual residential shift from south to north. Now, we're still dealing with our juniors and seniors. So it's not like that housing's going to go empty overnight and we're going to move everybody from south and there's no need for this housing. I was actually with Jamie Sear, who oversees our housing, yesterday, talking about what we think some good ideas as far as maintenance and how much do we really want to deal with a different infrastructure here. What are the things we need to do quickly? And again, what is the future of this half or this section of the campus, of the South Campus? And I'll tell you that a lot of these facilities, when they were built by Pyramid back in the 70s, early 70s, they were a 20-year fix, like Band-Aid. And the university's done an incredible job maintaining those facilities. And now, what are we, 40 years into a 20-year building, or 50 years? So, again, it's all in upkeep and how you take care of things. And I think that there's a future here. I don't think that it's going away tomorrow. It was something we've had a ton of questions about, but our goal is to get those freshmen and sophomore on campus, and we've got our work cut out trying to do that. Next slide. So again, this just shows what we call, like the old and the new, the Waverly Ave side of it, the different buildings in here that, how do we address this? The things that we really pay attention to. Where's the parking? Where's the loading docks? What are you looking at as you come up through campus? And I like this look here because there's a gentleman that I receive emails from probably at least once a month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month, about what he sees when he drives down this road. A lot of attention to detail about all the vehicles that are parked on the Shine. This dock probably isn't very functional. I know it's not very functional and ends up being a big parking lot. That's something we're addressing. We're talking to our physical plant people. We're going to meet with the people of the Shine to say, okay, what do you really need? What time are your deliveries? Why do you leave the big trucks there? We're going to move the ambulance out of in front of the health center. They're going to actually go on to main campus and go behind Lyman. That's going to be a great move for us. That's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation. They'll be housed with the Syracuse University Safety Department, which is also a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation. And we're able to, with the new entrance out to College Place, back the ambulances right in, so it's a straight shot out. There's 2 ambulances and 5 what we call medical transport vans for students with medical issues that are maybe on crutches or can't walk across the campus, so they call and they get the ride. It's part of what we do. But this gave us a fresh look at what we have going on here and why things are what they are. This we get a lot of pushback on. I got to get my bearings here on this piece right here, which is, a lot of people tell us how ugly the parking garage is at the Sheridan. So it's something that's out there. We talked to Sasaki about it, and there's some ideas on what we could do there in the future. So it's definitely on our radar. If we go to the next slide, this is, as they named it in the framework, and again, this isn't all the slides from the framework. These are slides that Eric and I pulled out that I think are important to this presentation. What do we want to do? How do we want to grow? And if you look at this, it basically says to you, okay, it's an addition. Maybe we go and we put some additions and we rework Watson. Boy, it'd be nice if we could take Bird, and it's actually referred to by the students as Club Bird. It's one of the busiest buildings, probably the busiest building on campus. This is an addition that would take Bird out a little bit. They're starving for space. This is, again, future, what could be next. This is an addition to the Shine Center. Again, same thing, the Shine is set very far back. And taking a really good look at the Sheridan, could the hotel stay with some mixed use around it? And then again, where are we going here? We desperately need a welcome center. We desperately need an admissions office. It's very rare that you have an admissions office with an academic building and an administrative. So there's three things happening in Crouse-Hinds Hall, which are not great use, mixed use space over here in Crouse-Hinds Hall. And plus, it's tough to get here. It's where the admissions office is, the chancellor's office is, and there's classes. There's a lot of classes in here for Maxwell and education. You're over here at the Sheridan, and it's kind of wayfinding over here to get people down here. Then you walk up and you go on campus. I mean, you'd be in the heart of campus if we were able to do something. Stay at the Sheridan, go right here to the Welcome Center, come right up our main, the heart of the campus right there, and it would welcome you in. So this is, again, another conceptual idea of what could happen there. Next slide, Eric. So this is the actual rendering from shop architecture. This is the National Veterans Resource Complex. Our goal is to be in this building, May, June of 19, Ron. Ron Novak, who's sitting here in the front row, Tim Drum, both, Ron works with our National Veterans Institute at Syracuse University. Are you a vice president? What's your title? Second. He does a great job. So he's helped us. This is his baby. He's going through all the programming with our staff. This is going to be a fabulous building. It will house both the ROTC programs. The first two floors will be mixed use in classrooms. We're in a lot of need for classrooms at Syracuse University. We'll share the first two floors. There'll be a 1,000-seat auditorium in this facility. And then you go upstairs, and the third floor will be the ROTC programs with some other mixed use, and then the administrative staff on the fourth floor. So again, we're still going through quite a bit of, bless you, still going through quite a bit of this design of this building. This building has a green roof, actually a roof big enough for the ROTC programs to practice on. It's a parade roof. It doesn't show up on this rendering, but when they show a picture from up on campus, you'll be able to see the American flag inside the building on the parade roof, and the students will be able to access it from that third or fourth floor. The next slide will show what the potential tenants are that would be in this building. Obviously, both ROTC programs. This is the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs and Vet Success on campus. This is very important to us. The Center of Excellence for Veteran Entrepreneurship. These are very, very important initiatives at Syracuse University that will be housed in that building, and I think it's fabulous for the university to be the first in its country to have a facility like this. This is a great, great opportunity for Syracuse. Syracuse, the city, along with Syracuse University. So the next slide, this is an important one. So this is the actual rendering of what Archbold Gym could look like. And those of us that are familiar with campus will notice, hey, there's a little, you're out to the, so there is an addition here, which takes us out to our lot line where our property ends, again with the sidewalk, and this is owned by ESF right here. So this is the area where we'll have so what we're going to do is it's going to be called Archbold Health and Wellness. The trend across the country is to combine both health and wellness in one building. So our health center, our complete health center operation, will move up to what we call Arch A, and that's the oldest part of the building. So everything that's housed in the health center now will be up there, including the counseling center that's down on Walnut. That's something that, to bring those groups together is gotten to be very common at other universities. We had the people that work for Rebecca Reed-Kantowitz, her direct reports, went out and visited about 5 or 6 different facilities across the country that are also brand new that developed this concept, and it's really just makes a lot of sense to bring both groups together. So from here all the way to the other end of the building will all be brand new health center. We'll have the nicest health center in the country, or wellness center. Brand new 6-lane pool, zero accessibility, so you'll be able to get in there in a wheelchair. There'll be a smaller educational pool next to the big 6-lane pool. We have a program at Syracuse University in our education department that takes parents with disabilities and brings them into like a swimming pool that gives them accessibility to teach their kids how to enjoy swimming and recreation, and that'll be part of this facility. A brand new rock climbing wall over here at this end of the facility. We're going to move the entrance from here over to here, so you'll drive down in, you'll see actually into the building, quite a bit of glass here so you can see what's going on. 4 new basketball courts, huge weight area, free weight area, many studios for yoga or dance or all the things that the students asked us for. We got a lot of feedback from the students on what they wanted in this building. On this end, there'll be what's called a MAC court, multiple activity court, and that'll be somewhat like a box lacrosse type of facility with a tartan floor, so field hockey can get in there, floor hockey can get in there, frisbee can get in there, all the different groups that came to us. There'll be a juice bar in here, like a real little kitchenette type of area that's for health drinks, sandwiches. We call it grab and go. It's something we do in athletics now. It gives you an opportunity to grab something on the run. If you're between classes and you haven't had a meal, at 7 o'clock, you do a workout, you go out, you grab a banana, you grab some fruit, you grab anything, boom, out the door you go. So that's something we're going to put in this facility. And again, these facilities will be combined, but with a clear difference between where the health center is and where the wellness center is. So this is great. So we'll maintain and keep, Flanagan will stay in operation, the bridge will remain. Pretty much everything else you see this is a really close rendering of what we want to do there. So we actually were on a phone call before we came here today with Populous. They're the architects. This is coming to fruition pretty quick. Again, Campus West, the other half of that is the fan and the dome experience. And again, one of the things people always ask me is, why did you keep the dome on campus? What drove that decision was the survey that Sasaki did. If we surveyed 25,000 people, 24,000 said you can't move the dome off campus. We want it to be more part of student life. The students pushed back hard. We want to be able to use the dome more. We want an indoor quad in the winter. So part of what we get in and renovate the dome is you're going to see a lot of glass. We're going to try to open the dome up to the community. When you walk up on a tour, you get all the admissions tours. They always stop at Gate E. They go down to the bottom of the stairs, which is kind of like walking down into a cave in Gate E, and they're trying to look through the door. We're going to, at the next level, by Gate N, Gate D, take some of that concrete out, open that up so people can look into the dome, and we're going to tie it somehow to arch so that the students can actually use it as part of a workout. And during the day when nothing's going on, they can get in the dome, run around on the turf, jog on the concourse, all the things they've asked us to do. What I didn't mention in arch is there'll be a 3-lane running track above all the weight area by the basketball courts. So there'll be an indoor running track at the arch as well. So this is just, a great iconic facility. And, the students did not want to see this go away. What they told us was, this is one of the most important buildings on campus. It's where I come next week. They're going to come to the dome for convocation, and they're going to end up there for commencement 4 years later. So that was something that was brought up in almost every single interview when we brought students in groups to talk to the students. I just want to mention that one of the things we're going to do as the students come back, I think this is the last slide of the presentation, maybe I'm wrong, but it is re-engage with a lot of the different groups on campus, talk to the students again, go through what we think what the decisions we made in Arch. We want them to really look at where we're going, what our direction is, and what the programming is. Joe Laurie, who does a great job with rec services, has been involved every step of the way. His staff, we've met with them many times. So I think it's important that we re-engage with the community, re-engage with the students, and it's something we're going to do last week in August, early September. So.